am Professor Tony Diaz, Liberticante. We're a few minutes from showtime of a great literary production which we've accustomed the Houston public to anticipate for 27 years. But like all great art, we keep evolving and changing. So people are used to us bringing brilliant authors, and here's all their great books. But now what we're doing, we're teaming them with visual artists. So we're practicing today with our dear friends from Latino C Libros HTX. They're our new colleagues. They're gonna help us display the visual art, and we're actually practicing for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce luncheon this Friday, where we're gonna have 2,000 business professionals. And again, they love literature, they don't expect visual arts from us. So right now, we're kind of testing how to display it, what fits, what works. When you get here, get ready to meet great people, great books, and great visual arts.
Welcome to Viva Magazine Live. I'm your host, Blanca Blanco, and here we are, Viva Magazine out on the town, and we're here at Houston Community College Southeast, and we're speaking to the host of, actually the founder, be corrected on that, the founder of Nuestra Palabra, Tony Diaz, who's hosting an event with a very prolific author today, Veronica Chapa. We'll be speaking to her a little later, but right now we want to speak to Tony Diaz, the founder of Nuestra Palabra. Tony, welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us, everything you do for the community.
Thank you so much. You know, I've known you for such a long time. You've done so much work. You founded Nuestra Palabra in 1998. Tell me about it. You know, what are the challenges that you faced?
That's a long time ago. 1998. I actually grew up in Chicago, but I came to Houston to become the first Chicano to get a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing from the University of Houston. Right. And I figured I would get my Master of Fine Arts, go back to Chicago, and do my thing.
Yeah.
But I came here and I fell in love with Houston, the community, toda la gente.
Sí, caray.
Sí pasa.
I fell in love with you. Toda la
Thank you.
gente te quieren a ti.
Ay, gracias. You're very kind. And I'm like, I love it here. And as I started finishing my program, I had my first book published, The Aztec Love God. And I remember thinking while I was in the graduate school program, kind of in the ivory tower.
Yeah.
They don't encourage you to go out, but I did. I would go out to Mecca, with Houston. But I would say there should be a reading series for Latinos so we can read in English, Spanish, Spanglish. I'd be like, I wonder who will start that.
Yeah.
When my book came out, it dawned on me. I'm like, oh my goodness. I think
Yeah,
I know. It's like, oh my goodness. And in 1998, with so many other young writers and visionaries, folks like you that said, you know, there's a possibility. The challenge was that even some of our own community members said that there was not an interest or enough writers, or that people would want to embrace Latino literature. But we knew otherwise, and it's great to show everyone that we love our history and culture for all these years.
Yes. Well, you certainly have made an impact because I can see all the books, and Nuestra Palabra has an online library that you can purchase books. And I know that you've worked very hard to get this off the ground, and you've been a success to it. And I just commend you. You are awesome, and you're an articulate speaker. I just love. So what are we doing here tonight, Tony?
So tonight is Mali Nali Day in Houston, Texas. So Mayor Whitmire gave a proclamation today to that effect. There was a great reception there at City Council, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And the writer, Veronica Chapa, has her debut book, Mali Nali. This is the only city she's visiting in Texas, but it's Women's History Month.
Yes.
And it's the beginning of our 27th anniversary season. And she's retelling the story of La Malinche, which folks have heard her name. It's come to me synonymous with a sellout. But there's a real profound story behind there. And obviously, it's a stereotype. And what's great is that with this book, she revives it. And I think revives us because we've got to defy all those stereotypes, you know? And we got to support las mujeres.
Yes.
We always get a tough,
Absolutely.
¿verdad? And it's like...
Absolutely. I agree with him 100%.
And it's Women's History Month, so what a great way to kick that off. But like you mentioned, in the past, we'd have a great event like this. We have visual art, writers, people from the community. But after it was over, it was over. Now, because we have the website, nuestrapalabra.org, people can go visit. They can actually see some of the videos. They can learn about the writers, and they can purchase some of the books to make it part of their family library.
Right. Right, and I know that you're going to be doing something very soon over at the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce luncheon. So tell me what you're going to be doing there.
Thank you. So because we have a team now, in 2024, we were named the Houston Cultural Treasure or the BIPOC Arts Networking Fund, which came with some funding, which we invested to create a new logo, a website, and create our infrastructure, so that now we have a team where we can do pop-ups. So we're going to present our booth, which you see here at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce annual luncheon, which about 2,000 or more Latino professionals attend.
Yes.
And we're also going to carry Dr. Lara Murillo's book, because everyone thinks of her as the president of the chamber. We think of her as not just our very own hermana, but as a writer. So we're so happy that we'll be able to carry her book so people can see one side of her work and then also see the other side of her work, which is really what it's about, not to think about us as intellectuals, but also our story.
I have to ask you this question. So, I think you organized a Libro Traficante. When exactly did you start that?
And I talk about this in my book. We didn't plan it, but there's my book, The Tip of the Pyramid. The cameraman's good. Cultivating Community Culture Capital. I talk about the story where in 1998, Arizona legislators banned Mexican-American studies.
Yes.
And at that time, Nuestra Palabra was 14 years old. So I and 4 other veterans in Nuestra Palabra, Brian Paras, Liana Lopez, Lupe Mendez, and Laura Razo, we said, you know what? If they're going to ban our history, we have to make it more. So we organized a Libro Traficante caravan to smuggle the prohibited books and carry them back into Arizona.
That's why you call it Libro Traficante.
That's why we become the Libro Traficantes. We started underground libraries, but we were there to support the Chicano students suing Arizona to overturn that law and to bring attention to them. We started underground libraries, believe it or not, that they were needed. And it was wonderful because with help from everybody, those young students overturned that law. But we're,
awesome.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yes.
That's important. I'm glad you asked, because people have to understand that we've overcome great odds, right? I mean, Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, they didn't have the internet. They didn't have all the people with degrees that we have, ¿verdad? And they overcame great forces. I think we're back there again in this age. And I do want to say, we have to keep adapting, because right now in Texas, there's a lot of laws that make it harder for schools to acquire books.
Right.
They're not teaching it in the classrooms. They're defunding libraries, and the ones who suffer are community members. So
Especially
now,
our children.
our kids, and the American dream is through education. So one thing that we're telling people, we need them to pitch in for GoFundMe so they can get classroom sets. We're getting these to educators, community libraries, and we all have to start our own family libraries.
That's right.
And underground libraries all over again. And if someone has the resources to buy 10 books, please help us get it to 10 families that will use it. And that's where we're at. And we're going to overcome this too.
Yes, we
Okay? We're going to win again.
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
Sí se
Siempre.
I got to ask you this question, getting back to Nuestra Palabra. What is the most memorable event that you've had? I know you host lots of events. Tell me the most memorable.
I remember when we used to organize the Latino Book and Family Festival at the George R. Brown Convention Center. I think the first one was in 2002, and we had about 30,000 people.
Oh my God.
But this was before the era of Amazon. This is before bookstores like Borders Bookstores went out of business. So it was like the peak era. But again, it was wonderful for our team to come together, and our team, our gente, delivers big. Con ánimo y corazón. And we prove that we need it, and we're going to do all of that again, united again. And then we have to unite again right now.
That's right. That's what we have to do. Tony, thank you very much for interview with Viva Magazine Live. I mean, this is a wonderful event. I wish you much more success on all the hosting that you do on these Latino emerging writers, and some that have been prolific writers in the past, and getting our kids to read these works and know who our leaders are. That's the most important thing, I think, too.
Thank you so much. It means so much for me to be on Viva también, because you've got that awesome legacy as well. And I think it's been great to see you adapt to the need.
Yes.
And I feel stronger together. So gracias.
Gracias a ti.
Unidos.
Soy unidos siempre.
Exactly.
Welcome to Viva Magazine Live. I'm your host, Blanca Blanco, and today we're here at Nuestra Palabra. We're here to interview Christopher Carmona, and we're going to talk to him about what inspired him to write these 2 books. There are actually 3, but we're going to talk about 2 books for today. Christopher, welcome to Viva Magazine Live.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I want to ask, what inspired you to do this? I mean, because there's so much history in those books that I was inspired and amazed of what I learned here today. So tell me about that.
So what inspired me to write this is family history, but it's also history that's not told. And so this is history that I grew up with. It's not in the history books. So I wanted to be able to write these books out for younger generations to remember what happened here.
Right.
Yeah.
That part of history was not taught in the Texas history books. And so how are you going to be able to put this history in the history books today so our kids can learn this?
Well, that's the tough part, especially in Texas. But we are working to bring these in. So in Mexican American Studies classes that we got approved in 2018, part of that history is in that, and this is in that curriculum right now. So we're slowly trying to get those out there, but going through the books and having the kids kind of do their own research is the best way, because I grew up hearing these stories as a kid. And so if we can keep these going that way, this will keep the stories alive. For the fighting the State Board of Education is a different story. But, you know, I think the more we push and the more people want it, and I think there's a lot of students that do want it. They want to know about who they are and where they come from. And I think that will do a lot to push this out. So I think the books themselves might ignite some fire, hopefully, in the students.
I hope it does, because the kids need to know where they came from and the challenges and the fights and the wars and the massacres that we encountered, because now today they are standing on the shoulders of all of that has transpired, and our history just, you know, has to be told.
Yes, definitely. I mean, not just like the bad stuff that happened, but the heroes that came out of this. And so there was a lot of people who stood up, like Jovita Idar, you know, the first really Tejana recognized journalist who was covering this violence during the time. J.T. Canales, who put the hearings to kind of stop the Texas Ranger activities. These are real heroes that they should also know about, that there were always people who fought back. And that's what I'm trying to do with this.
I wanted to ask you, tell me a little bit about the book El Rinche.
So Rinche is it's a superhero story that takes place during the time referred to as La Matanza. And that's the time in South Texas when we have hundreds to thousands of Mexican Americans who were lynched, murdered, and had their land stolen. And so this character himself becomes this kind of figure. He's a superhero who's fighting against this injustice. And he's fighting against it like you have all these people like Batman's fighting against injustice. And so, because they did not have the legal recourse, so what do you do then is you come out and fight in these kind of ways, right? But it also the stories themselves mix together the real histories of what happened. So you have what's happening around these characters, which some of them are based on real characters, and a lot of them are mixed together with real people too.
Right. That's right. And you just, it is a fabulous storytelling of these characters that are really real, and they happened in our history that me today didn't even know about. And so I was just surprised about that. I mean, that all of this history had not been told. And I'm just learning about it today, which is unfortunate, because these stories need to be told to all our students. Just like you said, we cannot go through them. They cannot go through life not knowing the history of what happened in the past. So tell me about your next book that's coming up.
So the next book I'm working on is a book about my family history. And it's a book actually about my grandmothers, two of my grandmothers in particular. One was my fourth great-grandmother, the other one was my great-grandmother. And my fourth great-grandmother was the owner of the Espiritu Santo land branch, which is about 408,000 acres. And how her name was the Stefana Gosecochia Cavazos de Cortina. And she actually established the education system in South Texas. And so she's a very important figure that nobody really knows about, but she helped create a lot of what happened and run the massive empire that she had. And so my great-grandmother has a very different story. She was a bootlegger in the 1920s. And her story,
interesting.
Yes. And so it shows how she ran her industry, and also the kind of impact that had during the 1920s and 30s.
Right.
And, because mostly when they talk about like vice and stuff, you talk about like prostitution, but she wasn't. She ran these operations.
Probably with a really tight fist.
Mm-hmm. Definitely so.
Yeah.
So telling their stories brings out the history of the women that actually made these errors.
They were very strong women. You know, I just got to share a story about my grandmother as well. She was a very strong woman and who raised me as well. But she used to talk about los rinches. She used to tell me about that. And I was like, really? I mean, like it wasn't like you said in your talk. It just didn't register when you're a kid, not till today, that it is the truth. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, when I was a kid, obviously you're listening to your grandfather tell stories, and you're not going to read it. You're 8 years old, right? But when you get older, it's when you realize the importance of these stories and the fact that I think a lot of the older people don't realize that they made history. They're part of real history, and telling these stories is a way to honor them.
Yes, right.
To honor their struggles and honor who they were and the fact that they survived, right? And that's resilience.
Yes, resilient. And we do have some really true heroes that we need to know about. And I think Dr. Christopher Carmona, you will bring all of that out to the forefront. And I wish you the best of luck. And in your next book and next episode that's coming out on your family. So maybe it'll become a movie. Who knows?
Yeah. Hopefully, right?
That's right. So there you have it, Blanca Blanco here with Viva Magazine Live and Dr. Christopher Carmona, who's come all the way up from Donna, Texas, to talk about his book, El Rinche. So there you have it, my friends. Hasta luego, Houston. Hola, Houston. Welcome to Viva Magazine Live out on the town. Here we are at the Houston Latino Film Festival at Midtown Arts Center. We have with us one of the artists, Jesse Rodriguez, with us, and he is also known as Magnolia Grown, and we just want to welcome Jesse.
Oh, thank you, Blanca, and thank you, Houston, and thank you, my gente.
Jesse, I want to speak to you about the art pieces that you are showcasing here today. Can you tell me a little bit about the one at the top up there? I know that you've got some of your mentors on there, and you've explained a little bit to me, but I want you to tell the audience and the viewers of Viva Magazine Live exactly what inspired you about creating this particular piece.
Sure. I come from Houston's oldest Hispanic neighborhood, Magnolia Park, East End, 125 years old. And as a kid, there was never art on the walls. And you went everywhere else and there was colorful brightness everywhere else, but in my neighborhood, there was no color. So just being inspired, I express my passion of my community through art. Not just art, embedded in these pieces are artifacts that 120, the wood frames around these are 125 years old from the bungalows that were built in Magnolia Park in 1912, 13, 14, 15. The inspiration comes actually from Mr. Aligo Tanguma, the famous Chicano muralist who painted the rebirth of our nationality on Canal Street. I actually saw the development of that. My dad was a bus driver. My dad was the second Mexican bus driver for Houston.
For Houston Metro?
For Houston, it was called Houston Transit back in the day.
That's right.
So the reason they hired him because the other people couldn't talk the language for the people going to work. So they figured, hey, we'll just hire a Mexican, Latino to talk to the people, So my dad...
And it was needed.
My dad drove the 20 Canal for almost 40 years, retired.
Wow.
And, so that's the story. So the story is we're driving down Canal Street. I'm 6, 7 years old. And I actually seen we drive the canal, and right when we got in front of that building, I saw a man on a big old wooden ladder making lines. And so we go across town, come back on the route again, and I saw the lines get bigger. And so I never knew what it was till like the second, third day. And then all of a sudden I started seeing put color into it and more color. And by the time the summer was done, I wrote it this summer with my dad.
Yeah.
The boys would go with my dad, and the girls would stay home with my mom. The bus had air conditioning, so we were good. We didn't have air conditioning at home.
Buses were air conditioning.
So my mom would pack our lunch and our coloring books and our Hot Wheels, and
Yeah.
I saw him painting, and at the very end, I want to be an artist, Dad, and I'm here because of him today. And there's
Wow.
2 other artists.
That's right. You tell me about those 2 other artists. You mentioned Mario Gonzalez,
Mario Gonzalez.
and Mr. Lechon.
Mr. Lechon.
Uh-huh.
Yes, those are some other artists that never got recognized for what they've done. I mean, years and years of advocating for their people and their culture. Real quick, Mario Gonzalez came out of the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he came out, he enlisted back into college. He actually painted a mural at the U of H, and people don't even know it's there. It's been there since 1972.
Yeah, that's surprising, and nobody ever talks about it.
Right. So
we need to get out there.
We do. We need to help Mr. Mario Gonzalez and help him keep the mural alive and everything.
Yeah. So tell me about this mural. You got Diego Rivera up there, and you got another gentleman.
Saqueros, Alfaro Saqueros. They're famous muralists from Mexico. They have paintings from the 20s and 30s and 40s.
So does that designate the past for you in that mural?
It does, because all the art DNA is tied into this, because they studied, Daniel Lechon studied from Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo.
Uh-huh.
He actually lived with them and cleaned their brushes and all the stories that he's told me. Mario Gonzalez studied from Saqueros. Mr. Tanguma studied under John Biggers. John Biggers is another big artist out of college over here off of Cullen. So it's a lot of history. It's a lot of history. So there's the past, the present, and the top part, actually, the eyes and the nose and the mouth, that's me. And then the middle part is a mask, is a gold mask of the old ancient Mayan Aztec god Xochipilli.
Beautiful piece, and it tells a lot of history, and it tells about our past, the present, and our future. You have it all in there in that piece, Jesse.
Yes, thank you.
So let's talk about your other piece that you have here, Jesse. That tells us a lot.
So this piece is actually a piece that started about a month ago. It's a piece that a lot of people know me by painting with crabs. I'm a big fisherman. Oh, I had to do the first gallery show in Magnolia Park. It was never a gallery scene show. We just never had a place like that. And so I met Melissa Banks. She's actually a manager for a very special guy. His name is Cheech Marin.
Yes.
And she saw my art and she heard my story and she's like, I want to help you. I want to help you. I'm like, okay, fine.
I wanted to ask you, Cheech Marin. I know Cheech Marin, the celebrity comedian, came down from Los Angeles, California, and came to visit your art.
The gallery, yeah, he visited the gallery and he was impressed, and he wanted to know how long that gallery's been there. Like 2 weeks ago, we did all this. He goes, who did? Like, we did, me and my team. The thing was, the community loved it so much because we don't have something like that. And that's what we need. That's what we need. So that's what we've been working on. And
Right.
we had
You turned that YWCA into an art gallery that was looking fabulous.
Yeah. Yes. From the outside, it's all dark and gray, but when you open them doors,
Yes.
it was bright, colorful. I mean,
beautiful.
As soon as you walk into that place, everybody told me, like, this place is in Magnolia Park. Like, yes, it is.
Right there in the heart of it. That's right. Jesse, I know you're such an inspirational, creative artist, and you've got so many things going for you. What do you plan on doing to preserving this Chicano Latino culture and heritage for the future and for our kids?
Yes. So what I've done over the past 8 years, me being an artist, me being an advocate for the community, a historian, a lot of people saw what I was doing. They were proud of what I was doing. So I had a lot of families show me their treasures of pictures of Pancho Villa that's no one ever been seen or published. Lunch boxes from like the 1940s that the men used to own to the gas stations back in the day.
Yes, I remember those.
All this stuff, so before the Latinos were there, it was another immigrant community. Yeah, it was a community. It was a mixed community of Germans and Russians and Greek, Italians. That's where they settled first, and then we got there and we took over it. But just all the history that's in those houses, those treasures that no one.
Yeah.
They're still up in the attic, so y'all go to the attic and look for them.
Well, I think all of this should be in that Latino Research Center, Archive Center that we're building right there on Harrisburg that hopefully will come to fruition in a few years, and you can put some of your creative art into it. The other thing, I couldn't not ask this question, Jesse. Tell me, what have been the challenges for you in promoting the Chicano art that you have created here for the community? So certainly there have been.
Let me think real quick. The challenges would have been is funding.
Yeah.
If you could put me in a warehouse for 5 months, you wouldn't even believe what kind of art I could come up with.
Yeah.
So all this is being created with. I still have bills to pay. I still have a family support.
Right.
We take care of our parents, me and my brothers and sisters, and then all the other stuff that comes up in the community that people want me to help them with. Other organizations and nonprofits and schools and churches and American Legions. And
yes.
They all come to me and like, wait a minute, I'm not the councilman, I'm not the mayor. Right. Yeah, but you make it happen. Like, I know.
The mayor of Magnolia, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. And I'm like, well, so, I just do what I do with what I can, and that's what I'm hoping, people just see that. It takes a lot of time and financial money to make this happen. I mean,
that's right.
We work for free. She works for free. Yeah. We all work for free.
We all do.
And it's like we do it to bring it to y'all.
Right.
and
for the good of the community.
Yes,
that's what we do it for.
And I don't need y'all's money. I don't need y'all's. We have love. We have people that love us, people that hate us, people. But when you do that, that means y'all made it, and we've made it. But a little support, a little thank you, something.
Yes.
Just something like that.
Well, I wish you much success on your journey, Jesse, also known as Magnolia Grown. You can find his Magnolia Park's Art Community Center right there in the heart of the East End in Magnolia Park. Tell them where it's at.
Yeah, it's at an old my wife's old family house, her great grandfather, 7515 Avenue J, right across the swimming pool. There's a lot of swimming pool. Please come. We'll give y'all some dates where you can come. We'll have an open house and come and see.
Yeah.
See what all the hoopla is about.
That's right, and donations would be accepted, of course.
Of course,
Absolutely. Jesse, thank you very much for this interview. I wish you the best of luck in the future, and I know that this is a much needed art gallery up in the East End. I think that we need to go for it and get it down there.
That's right, go for it. You said it.
Y dale.
Dale shine.
Dale shine. Dale shine. And that's a wrap here at the Houston Latino Film Festival. Hasta luego, Houston.